Okay. I want to talk about my instinctive response to certain situations. I've been talking about the instinctive response people have had to me. It's been negative by men and women because I was male raped while asleep. Now, let me start off by saying, Bashuasi, all these messages for you. So I'm not going to go check on online the names if I don't remember them, right? Look, if we were talking on the phone, which is what I like to do, I like to be able to just say, hey, call you up and say, hey, Bashuasi, how you doing? It's me, AJ. What's up? And then we start talking maybe because, you know, you're 7,000 miles away maybe. You know, you can't be with me right now, so we're talking. Okay? And when we're talking like that, I'm not going to look up for you, and you wouldn't expect me to check facts and so on. Okay, hold on. My wife is coming in the room, and I got to put this on pause. Hold on. Okay. I was saying that the world has had instinctive responses to me being someone who was male raped while asleep. Okay? As far as I'm concerned, I got overwhelming evidence that this happened to me, okay? Am I going to go to courts in the United States? I am not going to courts in the United States about this. And since I'm so old, am I going to go to courts anywhere? Well, I'd like to get to you, Bashuasi. You know what I mean? So that's what I was saying. When my wife came in, I realized I got sidetracked. Okay, I'm saying, if you and I were talking, which we can't do, because I can't even meet you. I can't even meet you to find out whether I should be talking to you or not. So, since I can't do that, I'm making these videos for you. All of them are for you. They're for nobody else. They're for you. Okay? So, like I say, I'm not going to check facts and so on. Because these are for you, like in a phone conversation. Right, between me and you. And I've now said that. I've said it repeatedly for these videos. So anybody going over these videos online that's not you and says, wait a minute, he's wrong about this. I'm saying these videos are like a personal phone call between me and a person I'm calling Bashuasi. That's what they are, and they don't pretend to be anything else. Okay, so now let me go on and talk a little about my instinctive response to certain kinds of people. Okay, and I gotta say that it's possible that because I was male raped the way I was, there's a certain kind of person that I'm very sensitive to and that I'm able to identify out in the world. And I've never been wrong on this. Okay? So, if I'm instinctively, well, this is my sign for this in sign language. If my feeling about a person when I see him, this is usually on TV, right? Because who am I meeting? I mean, nobody wants to have anything to do with me in the United States. I'm a danger to everybody, so anybody who comes around, if they know anything about me, they're running for the exits and say, don't have anything to do with him. Keep the kids, don't let the kids be with him. Just, he's a nice and smart man. You got all that, yeah. Have a nice day, and they're gone. They're running for the exits when it comes to me. This is everybody who ever knew me from childhood on, not only out in the world, but in my own family, okay? In my own family, I've been ID'd as a crazy uncle, so any nephews or nieces, they have never wanted to have a word with me at all. And they haven't. I haven't had like one conversation with any of my nieces and nephews. They're going to talk with me. That's the crazy uncle. They're looking around and going to get the hell out, get away from me. It's weird, crazy uncle, run. Okay, so I'm slipping into what I call an emotional blackout here. All right, hold on. I got to try and remember what the hell I was saying. I was saying that me as a person in reality, I'm not going to be meeting anybody, okay? But I do see people on TV and this kind of thing, and I'm able to ID, and I've got proof. And so that I'm able to ID a certain kind of predator. And when I see this kind of predator, this is a sign. This is what I feel. Okay, in sign language, this means what? This means the hackles are raising like on a dog or a cat. They're getting ready to fight. They're angry and they're... You ever see a dog, you know, the hairs go up on the back, they're going to get in a fight? Or a cat, same thing. Hackles are raised. Well, when I see certain kinds of people on TV, and now because I've stayed with this, watching what's happened to these people, I've seen that these hackles being raised on me when no one else suspected anything, they turn out to be accurate. And these people get discovered as predators of this kind or that kind, and I'm confirmed in my instinctive response to certain kinds of people. Okay. Why am I talking about this? I think I had more of a reason than I'm realizing now, because as I was talking, I got so upset about the life I've had that I'm now, you know, like, I only half remember what I wanted to talk about. And I'm talking to you, Vishuasi, not to anybody else. You. So, like, if we were on the phone, we were talking, just me and you, this would happen. I'd be talking to you and I'd be saying the things I just said. I'd be saying, yeah, I'm the crazy uncle in my family and it's been horrible, you know? I mean, it's been absolutely horrible. So I'd slip into emotional back and I'd say, I'm in an emotional blackout and I just forgot everything I wanted to say to you. Okay, so let me go on. This video is for you, Vishuasi, not for anybody else. No offense to anybody else. Everybody else, I wouldn't be doing this if I could call her up. But I can't, so I'm going to do this the best I can do. Now, I'm afraid to name names, but there are certain people who raised hackles the minute I saw them on TV. Now, this was a problem because one of these people was a very well-respected, highly popular host on a very, very popular and liked TV program, like a news program. Yet when I turn my set on, this is going way back, okay? I turn my set on, hackles are up when I see this guy. And I would turn the channel because I say, oh, I don't like him. Oh, I can't watch. And people say, hey, you don't want to watch this show? Why not? What's wrong? What's wrong with this guy? I said, no, I don't want to watch it. So I'm in trouble, okay? For my instinctive response, it turned out to be true. This guy was found out. And he was fired. He disappeared completely. He was found out to be a predator, a sexual predator, okay? And I was right. Now, I don't want to name names, but this has happened a number of times, and it hasn't stopped happening because there's people I see now, and it's the same thing. I'm like, this is a big, important man for CBS News. I don't mean CBS News. Just this word came out of my mouth, okay? NBC, CBS, ABC, whatever. What's the public? PBS. These stations, okay? Or foreign stations. I don't even want to say them. Okay? It could be anywhere worldwide. If I see you and my instinctive response to you is this way, I don't care what anybody says about you. If you set off these hackles, I'm saying it's been proved to me, at least, it's near 100% that I'm accurate. When these hackles raise on me, I'm accurate. Now, it's just occurred to me, could I actually go to a court and say, well, you said you don't have any smoking gun evidence that you were raped while asleep, sir. There's no smoking gun evidence. There's no witnesses, and you say you have no memory of this happening. So, could I say, look, I got this instinctive response to predators, and I've been I'm saying near 100% because I'm really not sure. I would say 100%, but I don't want to. I'm talking to you, Bashua, and even with you, I want to be cautious and conservative. Okay, so I would say. I wonder if I don't know if I've had any witnesses to me saying this guy is a predator. No, I don't even have that, so I couldn't say like in a court. I predicted predators in half a dozen cases where I've been proved to be true. No one suspected, and yet there I was accurate. No, I couldn't do that. Well, you'd say to me on the phone maybe, AJ, it doesn't matter. Forget about that, right? Okay, well, I don't know how the conversation would go, but so there it is. I just wanted to talk about my instinctive response. I had something else to say, and I can't remember it now. Let me put this on pause a second. Well, let me conclude this conversation by saying that I was talking earlier today about the myth of Cinderella. And I was saying that if you and I are in that myth, certain things got to happen a certain way. But I've always been saying, you might have noticed this when you were listening to that last video that I made, that I never said that we were in that myth. What I'm saying is we're in another myth altogether. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying that if we were in the Cinderella myth, I'm not sure I made myself clear on this, but certain things would be happening, and they have to happen a certain way, okay? Or you're not going to be in that myth, and you can't expect your outcome to be the outcome of that myth. If you don't notice while you're going along in your experience, this is happening like in the myth, that's happening like in the myth, this and so on, you can't identify these things by analogies that are accurate. You're not in the myth of Cinderella. You're in some other myth. If you're trying to figure out how your life is going to develop or how things are going to work out for you, you better be able to try to ID what myth you're in. What is the controlling myth that you experience? And I've been saying over and over for the past 1,000 videos that the myth we're in, Bashua, is identified by the story of Esther in Judeo-Christian myth and the controlling appearance of that myth in the novel Night of the Hunter. Okay? So, in the Night of the Hunter, Haman is who? He's the hypocritical preacher who's a serial murderer. He's a liar and an evil man. Okay? And who is Esther? Esther is Miss Cooper, the lady who is saving little John and his sister. John is Mordecai. Okay? Now, I'd have to do more if I were writing a paper on this. You understand what a paper is, right? I mean, you're in a different field from what I'm in. Of course you do. If I were writing a scholarly paper on this, I'd have to do a lot of explaining on how these analogies all are accurate when I'm referring to them, okay, and how they fit together accurately to tell me. And then if I'm going to talk about my life and your life, I'd have to show how there are analogies in our experience that make this all fit together perfectly as a way of explaining what's been happening and what's going to happen in our story. So we are not in the Cinderella myth. We're not. I am no prince by light years. You know who I am? I'm Little John. I'm Mordecai. That's who I am. Now, so we're not in the Cinderella myth, and I did devote time to discussing the Cinderella myth, and I was saying that if we were in the Cinderella myth, you got to come here, to the kingdom here, because in that myth, the prince does not go to the princess. The princess comes to him. And you can see it in The Sound of Music, which is that Cinderella myth. How do I say this? The Cinderella myth in modern times, in modern terms, or at times of the time of World War II. Okay, there's the Cinderella myth at work in that story. Okay, and I was showing how that prince, Captain Von Trapp, he does not go to the nunnery. He doesn't. His kids may have gone there, but he didn't go. And that's in keeping with the story there. Okay, and so when they're going to get together, she's got to come back from the nunnery to that palace where he lives, and he lives in something like a palace, right? Well, if we were in that story, you'd have to come here. Now, the story we're in, The Night of the Hunter and the story of Queen Esther, okay? Little John and his sister, they come ashore in a rowboat type thing, which is reminiscent of the ark that Moses was found in, okay, in a river like Moses, and they're found, okay, and who finds Moses? Like, it's the daughter of Pharaoh, right? So she's like a queen herself, right? And you're talking in terms of royalty here and all this kind of thing. So Queen Esther, this is a queen as well, okay? So these things, you have this Moses motif in the story of Night of the Hunter, which is elevating Miss Cooper to the status of a queen who's finding Moses in the river, this kind of thing. So this is associating her with Queen Esther this way, okay? Now, she finds these kids the way you found me. I don't know how you found me, but you did. You found me somehow, and when that boy John and his sister wash ashore in their boat, they're asleep. And Queen Esther, Miss Cooper, finds them. They had nothing to do with going to see her. They weren't going to see her at all. She finds them, and she takes them under her wing. Okay, without writing a scholarly treatise on this, I'm saying our story is Night of the Hunter. So you are Miss Cooper, Queen Esther. Okay? And even there, okay, if we're actually going to have a relationship, okay, this story has got to develop where we at least meet each other, okay? So somehow, into those parts of the story I've mentioned, we have to meet somehow. You found me and my sister, my wife. She's my sister. You found us, okay? Now we got to meet. That's the next part of the story. You and I have to meet. That's as much as I'm going to say. So I'm going to go to your country and look for you? That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen if the Cinderella story was our story. And it's not going to happen when Night of the Hunter is our story. It's not going to happen. I am not going to go and find you. You're the controlling force here. And as I keep saying, you are like a 30-year-old and I'm like a 2-year-old compared to you out there in the world. I mean, I'm declared to be full out crazy. Whether you know this or not, I have virtually no rights at all. None. And that's probably why I'm being surveilled and followed around so mercilessly. Okay? If this is somehow legal, being done by secret police of the United States, we have warrants that say we can do this, okay? It's because I've been declared to be crazy, and that's where they get those warrants. But I am not crazy, and I should never have been declared to be crazy. So this is a fraud from start to finish. It's a atrocity level injustice perpetrated on me to the present minute. Okay, so I don't have any rights at all. I'm like a 2-year-old. I'm helpless. I'm a 2-year-old. I'm helpless, and my wife is helpless. Okay, 2 helpless people like John and his sister Pearl. That's who we are. You are Miss Cooper, Queen Esther. So take it from there. Nice talking with you, okay? Let's talk again. Bye for now. Okay, I just remember what I wanted to say in the video I just concluded. I'm watching The Sound of Music for the umpteenth time. You know, if I was a scholar on film, I might want to write a book on The Sound of Music, so I would watch it this many times as a scholar. I would. I'd be watching it all the time. Okay, so here's what I was thinking about, okay? What I was talking about was my instinctive response to others, and I wanted to say that when I was watching this movie, Sound of Music, I saw that the main male character, his last name is Plummer, like plumber in your house, but it's not spelled that way. And I asked artificial intelligence, was this a made-up name or was this his real name? And I got the answer back, this is his real name. So that had nothing to do with anything, okay? I was thinking it might, but it didn't. So here's what I want to say. I like this guy, okay? And, but my instinctive response to him was telling me, I was saying, this man appears to me like he might be gay, okay? Now, I don't mind mentioning him, he's passed away, and I'm saying that I like him. There's some other people where I have instinctive responses where the hackles are raised that I don't like, and I'm not going to mention any names. And I was proved to be right about them. Okay? So, but this guy, okay, he didn't quite raise, hackles, but he's raising almost hackles where I'm saying, at times I'm saying, the way he's talking here sounds like gays. Now, how do I know about gays? I don't want to go into this, but because I was raped while asleep, as I keep saying over and over again, gays have been fluttering around me since adolescence, around the time that started to happen. I was running into one gay after another. I had no interest in gays. I still don't, okay? But they're all around me, and as I've said over and over, I wander into a bookstore when I need a job. I shouldn't have been working well in college, okay? But I got a job because of the abuse I was suffering by America's Man of the Year, who was my rapist. And I wander into this bookstore in Montgomery Mall, and I say, hey, you need any help here? And the lady says, wait, just a minute, let me see. Talk to the manager. He says, yeah, she hires me. So what do I find out? I'm going to be working side by side with an openly gay man. This was 1973 to 1975, 2 years. Did I quit because the guy was gay? No. I worked side by side with him, and he educated me on gays because he was trying to, this is the way I'm going to say it, convert me to gay for 2 years. And he wasn't going to convert me to gay. I even said to myself, I'll let this guy be my friend. I'll make friends with him. And I went out with him a couple of times, but he wanted to be gay, so I stopped. I got memories. So I said no to that. So That's just one thing. I got, like I said, 1,000-page book, maybe 2,000 pages of gay after gay after gay after gay running into me, and all male relationships, even if it takes 6 years to get to this point. When you get to this point, it's okay. I'm counting to 10. What's that mean when a man and woman are together? Well, I get to that point with men. They're supposed to be my friends. I say, what is this? And the friendship ends. Okay? I'm thinking to myself, this is something I don't want. Okay? So that's why I know so much about gays. I told these stories, I rattle them off, one after another. No, I don't want this, but it keeps happening. So I have this perspective, and so I'm saying, from all I've seen of all the gays that have been fluttering around me for all these years, and look, I don't have anything against gays at all, nothing. And I used to watch that show, Modern Family. Got gays in it, right? I used to watch it on TV, and since I've finally become conscious that these rapes did happen to me, and they are the cause of the wrecked life I've had, I can't watch this kind of stuff now. I just can't. I'm way too upset. I can't do it now. Now, the point I wanted to make was that this man, Christopher Plummer, he was raising suspicions in my mind, saying, this guy looks like he might be gay. So what I'm trying to do here is offer some support to the idea that I do have accurate instinctive responses in this one area. This man is apparently not a predator, but I'm saying that he was raising these, what do you call sensors in me? Some of the sensors were alerting me that this possibly a gay man, but I don't mind that he's gay, okay? What happens is I looked him up online, asking, was Christopher Plummer gay? I ask artificial intelligence, and I get back the answer. A lot of people think that he was like bisexual because he gave answers at some time to the press where he said, it doesn't matter to me one way or the other. Apparently, who he had sex with, I guess, and so I'm just saying I was accurate there, and I'm just offering that as like a support for anybody thinking that. Give us some examples. I don't want to give the examples because I don't want to get falsely accused. And even if I'm right, what I'm saying, I had these feelings about this person was discovered to be a predator, this happened, it's off TV forever. I could do that, but I'm not going to do it. So there's my support for myself there. Christopher Plummer looks like he might have been a bisexual, but you see, I had these feelings like a lot of other people. So I'm similar to them in my response to reality. I'm not way off saying, I had suspicion. I'm not doing things like that, okay? I am not the crazy loony bin trip that the United States legal and medical establishment have said that I am, wrecking my life with a fraud that I'm fighting against to this day, and I'm in my 70s, and I'm going to go on fighting for the remainder of my life. Now, the message is for you, Bashuasi. But, have you ever tried to pray personally to that entity that people describe as God? If you're Jewish, you know that you cannot see that God, right? I shouldn't even be talking about stuff like this because I could get in trouble. You're not supposed to be able to see this entity because, and I don't know if you can call him an entity even, but this identity, you shouldn't be able to see him because he's not in any kind of a body. And your eyes are only going to see bodies, right? If something's not in a body, you're not going to see it, right? But then somebody might say, look, this idea that there's a body that you're looking at with your eyes, this is a human way of looking at reality. If you were sensing reality in another way, you might be able to perceive, let's not say see, this entity. He's not in a body, yet you can perceive him anyway. Well, this is a complex thing to get into, but I'm saying it's difficult to pray, for me at least, to this entity because you can't see him. He's not going to be talking to you like in a conversation. Yeah, how you doing, man? What's up today? Things like this are not going to happen. So while you're talking along, when you're praying, trying to communicate with this identity, you might be, but the way I am in these conversations with you, Bishuasi, because Bishuasi, where are you? Who are you? Why can't I meet you? All these things are interfering while I'm saying this is a phone conversation, but as you can see, it turns into something else. And the reason is because it's kind of like talking to a metaphysical identity that it's very hard to reach. And when you're doing that, the result is the kind of communications I'm making in these videos. Even though I say it's like a phone conversation, I'm not holding to that format, obviously. Okay, well, bye for now.